still vividly remember the sense of excitement and adventure when, after hours cooped up in a Land Cruiser with my brother, my father would pull into a new spot in the bush and we'd jump out and start exploring to discover that next rock, stick, waterhole or tree to climb. This is me as a child in a dry riverbed in the Pilbara. And I still have that sense of adventure, and I largely have this man to thank for that. That's my father, Alan Marshall, and in case you can't tell, he was an exploration geologist just like me. His passion for rocks and exploration rubbed off not only on myself, but my brother too. We both followed him into the industry. My brother explores globally as Newmont's chief geochemist. My career has seen me around the globe as well. Most recently, as mentioned, I've spent the last 2 years in the Patterson with Newcrest on their joint venture with Greatland Gold, delivering over 3.4 million ounces there in the initial resource. That ore body is quite astounding, and you're going to see more in that space for sure. So my father always believed that the Pilbara had more to give than just iron ore, and he was a passionate explorer that believed in cutting-edge technologies. And let's get on to the story at hand today, and that's where these three fellas come in. And if you don't know these guys, Tony Lebowitz, Neil Biddle and John Young, they were the founding members of Pilbara Minerals. And I'm sure everybody's well aware of that success story of lithium in the Pilbara, so they know the area quite well. Usual disclaimer. So Tony, John and Neil are the board of directors at Trek Metals. I'm the CEO, and we're an Australian-listed, ASX-listed junior explorer with the ticker TKM. Importantly, as Don mentioned, I believe we're on the verge of a new VMS discovery in the Pilbara. We have a modest market capitalisation of $32 million. We're out actively exploring, and let's just get into the story. Focused in the Pilbara, in Western Australia. So the Pilbara is truly a world-class mineral deposit by any stretch of the imagination. It is the amount of wealth generated from this part of crust in Western Australia is just staggering. And recently, there's been a number of non-iron ore discoveries. Everybody knows the De Grey story, delivering over 6.8 million ounces in their initial resource there. My board's previous company, Pilbara Minerals, doing extremely well with a market capitalisation over $6 billion of their world-class lithium deposit, Pilbara. We've just heard from Kairos, nearing on 1 million ounces of gold, our adjacent tenement holders at Pinkuna. And Develop Global, Bill is giving Sulphur Springs the attention that I think it deserves, and that's a VMS deposit just down the way from us. We've got 3 projects in the Pilbara, Jimblebar, Tambura and Pinkuna. Today I just want to focus on Pinkuna. Not that I don't think that the other ones are any good. Actually, I'm quite excited by, we've just had some geophysicists re-look at the data from Jimblebar, and there's some off-hole conductors that haven't been tested for magmatic nickel copper sulfide there. So we've got some walk-up drill targets there. Earlier this year, we put out some results from rock chipping that we did at Tambura. That's early stage, but we've got a couple 100 grams per tonne there in rock chips. But what I'm most excited about is Pinkuna. So, our Pinkuna project. We are just near my previous company's board's company, Pilbara, just here, only 10 kilometres away. Importantly, we've got developed Sulphur Springs 25 kilometres away in exactly the same host rocks. And so for a geologist, for the non-geologists out there, a bit of a 101. We're in an archean granite greenstone terrain, and the host rocks that we're looking in are a mixed bag of sediments, volcanics, intrusives, extrusives, intruded by granites. And so these granites that have come in are the heat source drive and bring in fluids and metals to form these VMS deposits that we're after. So what you want to do is you want to search for evidence of these mineralising fluids, and once you've done that, you can look for trap sites to find your economic mineralisation. And find evidence of those mineralising fluids is just what Trek's done earlier this year. They defined a significant soil anomaly at Valley of the Gossans. So Valley of the Gossans, the historic exploration there was focused on these outcropping Gossans. For those that don't know Gossans, that's essentially rusty rock sticking out of the ground. So PMI came in the 60s and put in a number of drill holes, which were based on the Gossans that were orientated in this northwest southeasterly direction. When Trek got the project, we came in and did a regional soil sampling, and it came up with a significant multi-element geochemical anomaly, importantly not related to the structures but related to the host stratigraphy orientated in this direction. And I went and saw our consulting geochemist, and he said that this is by far the best multi-element soil anomaly that he's seen in his career. I almost fell off my seat. And I believe him because I'm showing you just bismuth here, but this isn't just bismuth. There's anomalous copper, zinc, lead, silver, bismuth, antimony, arsenic, selenium, a whole range of pathfinders that are typical of VMS deposits. The scale is almost, it's over 2 kilometres in length, and you say, fair enough, you know, a soil anomaly, you know, have you drilled it, what's there? We came in earlier this year and did our maiden drill program targeting the host stratigraphy, just with a series of shallow RC holes. And we just put out the results yesterday, and they're extremely encouraging and showing that that soil anomaly was related to bedrock VMS style mineralisation. We've got multiple zones of mineralisation. We've got down here, we've got wide zones of anomalous geochemistry that have zinc. We've got 20 metres at 1.48% zinc and 4 grams per tonne silver, including 6 metres at 3.75% zinc. There's up to 8.3% zinc there. There's some other horizons that are more copper dominant, where you've got, there's an intersection there, 25 metres at 7 grams silver, including 3 metres at 0.75% copper. There's another zone, importantly, 70 metres at 7 grams silver, including 2 metres at 0.4 and 0.2 grams per tonne gold. And so it's showing essentially that this VMS system it's got tenor, it's got the elements of interest that you want. We've got ore grade copper and zinc, and it's got gold in there. And there was another intercept in VRC6 that had 15 metres of massive sulfide, which had all this pathfinder elements. So it's really exciting as a geologist to come into a new VMS discovery. The geology as well. There's a big chert ridge that runs right through the middle of the deposit. The anomalism and the mineralisation sits right up with that. And so I went and had a look at some core at the core library yesterday from over at Sulphur Springs at their Midway prospect, and it looks exactly the same. So over at Sulphur Springs, there's a chert horizon with extremely altered volcanics underneath. It's classic. And so we've really just started to scratch the surface here. Like I said, just a single program earlier this year. And so where to from here? This is zooming out. This is that same soil anomaly there, 2 kilometres long. However, the host stratigraphy continues along strike, and so there's no reason why there shouldn't be more prospectivity along there. So all the black dots that you see, we've got a team on the ground as we speak collecting more soil samples to see if there's any more evidence of mineralising fluids along strike. We'll try and work out, now that we've proven that there's a VMS system there, we want to work out our search space. So we'll collect these soils and make sure we're focusing on the right spot. Also, we've proven that there's massive sulfide style mineralisation there, so the best way to remotely detect that is electromagnetics. This belt has never seen, or this prospect has never seen any electromagnetics, so we've locked in a helicopter EM crew that's actually going to start in a couple of weeks' time. And this yellow box that you can see here is the outline of the planned survey, which is due to commence in a couple of weeks, like I said. We're also going to roll back in and utilise a rig that's just down the road and poke a few more holes into this anomaly this year. So that's all very exciting. Moving out again, that's the area that we were just looking at there, at Valley of the Gossans. We're also quite excited by Honeyeater North and Honeyeater prospects, where we're also going to cover with helicopter EM. It's got similar stratigraphy with volcanics. You know, nobody's been exploring in here for VMS. Everybody's been focusing over on, so Venture X, over on this side of the granite. But we've proven that it's prospective over this side, so I'm really excited by that. So in summary, we've got an emerging base metal discovery at our Valley of the Gossans project. We are actively exploring, we're on the ground, we are a passionate and experienced, well-supported team focused on utilising modern exploration techniques. We're using ultrafine fraction for our soil samples. We're using EM, which has never been done before in this part of the belt. And we're obviously highly leveraged to any exploration success. And as far as infrastructure goes, if we were to make an economic discovery, we're right in the midst of a whole bunch of mines. We're only 20 k's off the highway, 120 k's south of Port Hedland, extremely well positioned. And if you'd like to come and chat, we've got a booth outside. Thank you.